curious if you could talk about the relationships that Amplify has with retailers, how branding and marketing has developed online, and how that's been effective, and if there's lessons that businesses in Alexandria can learn from that.
Yeah, sure. So, obviously Amazon and the internet are changing the way people buy products, and it's doing two things. One, it's obviously people are shifting the percentage of products that they buy from the store to online, which hurts retail businesses, but it's also lowering the prices, right? And so it used to be that you would go into Best Buy or your local retailer and you didn't know a competitive price, but now you can search online, and so that means the margins are going down. And so what's happening is that people are going online to buy a lot of stuff because they can find it and it's easy and it's cheap. And so what that means is, if you look at Alexandria, in Old Town in particular, that the good and the bad is that historically Old Town has had a whole bunch of really small, cute shops that everyday people can afford to rent and start up their own business. And unfortunately, those are the same ones that are being impacted most by this change. And so if you're a small person without anything differentiated, it's really, really hard. We have to change with the times. And so what you're seeing is a lot more experiential places opening up on King Street, and they're fun to do, and might not be a lot more fitness boutiques and stuff like that. And so it's just changing. I think when we walk down the street on King Street, we see a whole bunch of retailers with closed doors, and there's a difference between how the retail business is doing and how businesses are doing in King Street or in Old Town. I think that the average business in Old Town is actually doing quite well and growing, and just the retail streets look a little empty at times. From a branding and marketing perspective, the world's changing.
Please, I was actually going to ask you.
Okay. So I remember when the bids debate came up in the city council, and a lot were talking about how, well, because of internet shopping, retailers can't survive anymore. And I thought, really, have you talked to any of us? Because I don't think that's necessarily true. And I was telling this to these guys when we were all sitting here, and I said, what fundamentally has affected retail is not entirely because of Amazon. And I'm going to mention this, and then I'm going to tell you to think about what's kind of changed in Old Town, and I think you'll start to understand where I'm coming from. But in 2008, in October 2008, when the stock market crashed, in October, everyone pretty much has their Christmas inventory in, or they've already committed to Christmas inventory. So everybody, including myself, who just started a business, was thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to get people in the door to buy this inventory? So of course we offered discounts. The big retailers did the same thing. 70% off, 75, 80% off, ridiculous, wild discounts to get people in the door. But the difference is that big retailers never stopped doing that. I was just saying a couple months ago, I went into Ann Taylor and they said, oh yeah, today everything's 50% off. And I said, what? Really? I mean, if I did that, I'd be out of business. And if I continued to do that, that is not sustainable. In fact, there was an article in the Washington Business Journal, or I want to say it was the Washington Business Journal, that talked about this. It might even actually been the Financial Times, about the fact, and this was several years ago, that corporate retail, the large retail, was doing this, that they were continually offering discounts and they were training the customer to only shop when there were discounts, and how that's not a sustainable model. You cannot make a profit, I don't care if you're big or small, when you're offering 70-80% off. So that's number one. That never stopped. So that's part of the reason why you are seeing corporate retail, big retail decline. And so when people talk about what's eating up Amazon, what Amazon is eating up, if you really think about it, if you really think about the declines, it's coming from those big retailers. And if you think about the retailers that have left Old Town in the last couple of years, let's think about it. Ann Taylor, and ironically McDonald's, which always shocked me. What was the hardware store, Restoration Hardware. These were all larger retailers that left Old Town. But what keeps popping up? Smaller retailers keep popping up. So that's been always my argument is that we need to not give the smaller retailers reason to leave by increasing taxes and putting on more burdens. We need to prop them up. We need to support them. We need to continue to support them as a community and as a city government. So I don't really see the direness of the internet. And I think the other thing that's happened with corporate retail, is they forgot how to treat the customer. Where small businesses never forgot that. We always treat the customer well. I can recall so many times standing at the counter at Target, and the lady didn't even say hi to me when she was ringing me up and I'm spending $200. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I ever did that or many of my employees did that, they would be out of there in a hot second. That's, to me, what has been the failure of the large retail, and I think what you're starting to see is more creative, smaller, mid-sized retail that's starting to boom. And I go back, and again, 18 years, and I still see Bella Cara is still there. I remember when Shoe Hive opened. I remember when Hysteria opened. They're all still in business. All these businesses are still there. So obviously we're all doing something right, and we're not shutting our doors. So if you really think about it, and the other thing I will also mention is in Virginia, we are a property rights state, so we don't have blight laws. DC has blight laws, which means that you cannot keep a commercial building vacant for a certain period of time without fixing it up, without renting it, and so forth. That's why Georgetown's struggling, because they're enforcing the blight laws and they can't get people to come in there and pay the extraordinary rent. So Virginia doesn't have that, and so a lot of these vacancies are chronic vacancies, like the one across the street from me that has been vacant for 12 plus years. And there's no reason to compel him to rent to anybody. Absolutely no reason, and that will never change unless Richmond changes it. So,
and just on that quick point, there's a weird thing in tax laws. If you're a big enough real estate holding entity and you have profits in other areas, you can be effectively writing off the vacant property. So there's actually some weird large entities that can exploit that more than a smaller landlord.